Hey, Bluerinos, are you ready to make a country Christmas wreath? So let's get started. We're going to be using a 14-inch wreath base, some beautiful red peonies. We've got a nice dried look greenery bush, and we've also got some pine that we're going to mix in. So we're going to start with our dried look greenery. So a dried look greenery, it gives you the look that this is a kind of a vintage piece. So all of these will have this kind of neat dried look. They have pinecones, they have artificial berries and all these fun balls. I love that. Now what we're going to need to do is trim this bush up. We're going to use 3 of these bushes. They're not too big, so we're trimming them after we tear off each stem, and you got to get really neat edges. In design school, I'm always giving you the tips and tricks to break down pieces so you can get the most out of your bush. And we have very little waste too, which I love that. Now, if you're not in design school, we'd love to have you come and join us, especially right now at the holiday season. While we're gearing up, we're rocking and rolling out for Christmas, but we transition right into all the gorgeous spring designs. So your home will be rocking for Christmas for sure. But then we're going to pop right into the next season. So with these stems, you can see I've already kind of pre-curled the little twigs. I love that. And they're going to break into those 3 sections, and they come like little clusters like this. Now my electric glue skill is right here off camera, and I'm going to be using it to get a little glue on these. So the first thing you want to do is kind of set up your design and how you're going to want it to go around. And I'm going to put this kind of right in the middle line and start to work my way around. So I like to take, if this one has a pine cone and the next one doesn't, we're going to kind of alternate those right here in the midline. Start heading around. Now, if you can see some of the glue, use a little Spanish moss to hide it. Just because I don't like for anybody to see our mechanics or any of our, our cable ties, our glue, all that kind of stuff. These little twigs come on here. I like to curl those. I think they look really super cute curled, and move them to the front. We don't want to hide them. We want the greenery in the back, the berries and the twigs in the front. So you're always manipulating your supplies. Now, whenever you buy supplies from Khalees.com, I'm going to have stuff that I like to work with. And something like this, if it's available in a kit or a supply list, you know that Khalees likes all this stuff. It's easy to work with. So you can't go wrong. I'm not like buying stuff for you to shove in vases like the big box store. We're buying stuff that's easy to create with, because I want it to be stunning when you put your twist on it. Okay, keep going around, and I just like to rotate the wreath. It makes it easier just to keep rotating the wreath. So we're still going. So I do one with the pine cone, then I do one without, kind of alternating. So kind of take inventory of your pieces when you get ready to use them. There's no, you don't have to be perfect, but I like these in the middle, and I like them coming up. Design school students know, oh my gosh, my KDS Blue Merinos know depth and dimension means more money, more higher quality item. So even when we're working with pieces that don't have as much dimension, we're going to build it in. We're going to always build it into the design. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm giving those just a little bend, giving these all curls. These berries are on their own wire too, so I look at all this I can do within just each little stem. I love that because then they look cool. They got, they've got that movement. All right. So look, we already have great coverage going all the way around, okay? Look at the movement. You want that. I want these balls. I want when a breeze flows by, they move like real plants. They're not just stuck there, okay? Really important. Now our next move is we're going to break down our pine bushes, okay? We're going to put these aside. We're going to come back with that in a little bit. But we're going to move on to our pine. Now our pine is what I call like a bottle brush pine. It's a little bit like kind of like a brush you clean baby's bottles with. That's what this is, and it's just such a cool texture. It adds a neat dimension to our piece as well. So we're going to break these into 3 pieces each. So you just take, I like to keep the stem pretty short, so cut the stem off. And I can keep the pine cone, or I can work around it and cut around it either way, or I can take it out. It just depends what you want to do. So I'm going to keep that one, and I'm going to cut this piece here to where it's got a couple of pieces of pine with it. And then this one. So I've got some that have a couple and then some that just have one, all right? So break up all 3 stems like this. And you guys, the whole supply list to this project right here and to any video we do, we have a supply list for you, and that's available on Cleese.com. Whenever you go over to Cleese.com, the links to that video are also in there. And if you get to something on the website that it's requiring a password, that's because it's exclusive for our design school students. So if you see something that won't let you in, just know, hey, that's private for our design school students, but you can check out one of the other videos because we have stuff for everybody. And then when you're ready, come join us in design school because we are, we are bubbling over with excitement to share with you all the fun tips, tricks, and of course, all the neat things we have going on. Our workshops, our events, our parties, our Christmas parties, always so much fun. All of that, we just try to make that community of creative people getting together and enjoying it. And design school students also get discounts on supplies and first access to anything new we have, so they totally love that. First dibs is a real thing, especially when there's limited quantity of everything nowadays. We can't have everything. We just try to get as much as we can, but when it's gone, it's gone. So you gotta pull the trigger. Now you see the pine, I'm kind of working it a little bit more towards the inside. And it's so fun to let these little twigs kind of sit out above that. I love that. So there's a lot of thought going in as we start to put the pine in the next layer. I'm saving the single pieces for when we need to fill in holes. But right now I'm going between each little section of the dried look greenery we have. So I'm going between there to create this kind of layer in. Now today we're not really leaving a bow zone at this moment because the bow is optional to this design. So if you know you want the bow, then you can do what we call leave a bow zone. And that means we leave a section that's just specifically for the bow. Or you can wait till you get it built and then decide what to do with that. Being a little bit more really precision and strategic is more important when you become a seller, because if you're selling, you've got to think about your pricing, your structure, how can you mass produce those items with the inventory you have. So there's just all kinds of things to think about. And if you want to become a seller, we're here to help you with that too. Okay, look, all in, looking good. Now I've got a little bit of a hole there, and you can just take back and look at it. I think that's our main hole, so I'm just going to fill that one right now with a couple of pieces. And then don't worry, we'll be coming back and even souping it up a little bit more on the perimeter. But right now I want to just work tight to the center because we are about to put our beautiful peonies in. Now peonies are fun. They're like a really fun tight bloom. These are like more of a closed head. And they're in a pretty Christmas red. And I like that I'm going to be able to mix those right in. I'm going to pull these twigs a little bit more here. Move everybody forward because now that pine is really popping. We can pull these out just a little bit. I love it. I love it. So these will go aside for a moment. We'll come back with those two once we're ready to work around our bow and everything like that. Okay? So taking a look at this so far, and I forgot to tell you at the beginning, once you guys pick a direction, which is clockwise, just stick with it. Just stick with it. And I really think this is going to be where we're going to be putting our bow later. So once I identify that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off by putting much more there. I've got the inside done. I might put a little more on the outside, but we're going to identify this is where the bow is going to go. Okay. So that's at basically 4 o'clock on the clock, hands of the clock, so we know that. Now let's grab our bush over here. Here's our peony bush. Bring them out, and then that is the next in our pot of recipes. Now this one has a nice kind of brighter greenery, which is fine with this design. It would actually kind of give it more of a country look, but it doesn't really go with our ribbon. So I'm going to eliminate those leaves and not use those, but I'm going to trim all the big heads off. And I'm going to keep the buds on there and the fillers for something else, but I want the big blooms in this part of my design, okay? So just take your bush and trim that off. And you can always take sections of a mixed bush bloom merinos and you can separate them to what you want. So this I'm going to save for another project. Just put that off to the side. And then I'm going to grab my main blooms. So we've got a lot of big blooms. I've got one bud And they're almost all the same size. This one's just a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to try to separate these into sections of 2 blooms. So 1, 2, and we'll hold the bud off with the others, so we'll have 3 that are identical. So I have 3, oh, I dropped it. 3 blooms that are sections of 2, okay? Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to kind of make our own little cluster, and I'm going to bend those heads up. We don't need anything special. We're going to just take and trim these to the same length, okay? And once I do that, I can go ahead and put these in. I know I'm going to have a bow here. So what I want to do with these, I want to form a triangle with these so I have great spacing. One of the things you're going to find when you guys join design school is that a lot of design has to do with maths and geometry and shapes and how you can have a really pleasant design when you're able to do that. So I teach using that, and my brain thinks that way, and thank God I have that gift. So I'm able to lay these pieces out. We always want to stagger clusters if possible, like 1 higher, 1 lower, and then we trim it, and then I'm going to dip it right over here into my glue pot. I'm going to get a good amount of glue on there. Just hold it in, hold it tight, and now I've got a good amount of glue on my stem. And I generally just try to get the string off and then just come around. And if you're not sure about exactly where you're going to place it, or you're just not very comfortable yet, you can always just stick them in and come back. Okay? You don't have to glue it till you're ready, till you're like more comfortable. Okay, and by the way I say you make a triangle, we're going to come over here. Boom, and that's the end piece. You see? Don't forget we left a little bow zone there. So this one's going to go right up here. Same way, I'm going to go 1 higher, 1 lower, and trim them off. You got it. You're ready for design school. You are. You are totally ready. You've got some basics started, and I know you want to learn more because I'm always ready to teach you more. Matter of fact, this Christmas we've come up with some new construction methods for door, just a killer over the door L swag. Oh my gosh, if you've never made one of those, you got to come join us in class. So awesome. We also used a little bit of different technique on some garlands we've made this Christmas season, and they're already in the portal waiting for you to come join. So I can't wait for you to see. Look how cute. So this is where we have the plan for the bow to go, and that's where all the florals will go. So we're doing great. Our next step, I'm going to push my glue pot out of the way, is I'd like to go ahead and get that bow in so we can kind of see how our spacing works. So I'm going to just slide this dude over, move this pine cone, free up just a little bit of room in here. And that'll be nice because there'll be a little bit behind the bow, but we don't need to waste too much in there. So I'm going to bring our bow in. Now, we did make this bow on another video, and we'll have the link for you in this supply list for this project. We'll have the link for this too. Just read the description. It's got everything you need. Or ask here in the comments if you're struggling to find it. But everything you need is on Cleese.com. You never have to hunt and peck. The links are there so you can go find whatever you need. Now I'm going to grab a couple of little pieces of the grapevine. Cut that off. This dude is in. He's looking so cute. I love this red. It's popping really pretty with our other red on here. I mean, it's gorgeous. And just as planned, the 2 flowers will be right at the bottom of the bow, and you just bring those tails around it. And if you didn't see the bow video yet, we plan on this one to have long tails for that very reason. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Okay, now we've got a great foundation. This wreath is looking adorable, but we are ready to add more filler as we come in and around. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to grab our dried look bushes, and we should have, I think, 5 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have 5 left. And now we're going to use these a little bit in between the pieces we already had, just to bulk it up just a little bit more. So grab them. We're going to do the same process and just kind of go in between. And this one a little bit more to the outside, just to fill it in where we kind of stayed in the middle. Now I want you to reach to the outside. You have 5 pieces, so we can put basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 above the bow, all right? Or 1 beside the bow, whatever you decide. And if you need to, just push these in and then come back to check your spacing, okay? So I'm just going in between. We're going to put the others, and a little bit more to the outside this time. So that's the only major change we're making. Instead of in the midline. Oh my gosh, I'm dropping those design school words on you. That means in the middle, okay? In the middle. All right, let's put one more up here. We should have two more after this, right here. And once again, if you can see a lot of glue and it's not hidden, your mechanics are not hidden by the other greenery, you need to pop some Spanish moss on it to hide it. That's one of my signature tricks and tips I've been doing forever. This one's a little long, guys. I'm going to trim that because we don't need it shooting out too far. Kind of want consistent spacing. I'm going to put this one right above the bow. Pop that in. And this one I think I'm going to need a little bit of Spanish moss on because up here we don't quite have as much filler. So that's okay. I've got my little Spanish moss bucket right here. And literally just make a little bitty ball. This I believe is a chartreuse color that we're using from Cleese.com. Okay, rotate it around. And I'm going to use one more piece, kind of at the edge of the bow over here, coming down. Oh my gosh, she is turning out really lush and full. So don't be afraid to come back at the end and just plump it up so you get a really full look, because that's what makes these look beautiful. Now, what I want you to do is save these 3 pieces of pine until you actually hang your wreath up and look at it. And then when you see there's a hole somewhere, like I do see a little hole right here, then you come back and you put a little glue on these and pop these in. But take a look at it hanging, especially if you're making it flat today. A lot of times in design school, I'm going to design on my wreath making stand that we sell on Cleese.com, and those are beneficial because you're building the wreath in a position that your customer or you will see it hanging in your home, or if you're giving it as a gift. So keep that all in mind, all right? But you guys can do this, Bloomerinos. I know you can. Y'all go have fun with flowers. I want you to make one just like this, and don't be worried or intimidated if you've never tried. This was just 3 materials and 2 ribbons. It is not a difficult project. All right, Bloomerinos, I'll see you next time. Go have fun with flowers.